Have you ever gotten so good at predicting future events you've been offered a writer's job on The Simpsons? Do you regularly hold off on making major life choices until you can consult a pack of tarot cards or a magic 8-ball?
Don't count on it! Aww.
Well, congratulations! You might be a divination wizard. But what is a divination wizard? Well, start up that psychic hotline, break out the crystal ball, and prepare to bum out any millennials hoping to afford a house anytime soon, because
I can see the future!
So everyone would appreciate a little foresight, right? It's already everywhere. From astrology signs to fortune cookies to ripping out the intestines of a goat and throwing them on a table in the hopes that somewhere in the viscera lies the answer of whether or not you'll ever find Grandma's secret pot pie recipe. Humans have been trying to figure out the secret to seeing into the future by basically any means necessary. So does any of this, work? No. Time is a messy soup of chaos and nonsense, as unpredictable as British weather, spontaneous atomic decay, or what I'll say next in this script. Pancakes, oak tree, Neptune, dirty socks, you don't know me, I'm crazy. Ah! But this is a game. Anything can happen in a game. And like the WWE or capitalism, it's fun to imagine it works, even if it's just for pretend. Luckily for us, the subclass based entirely around predicting the future is fun, specializing in generating more eye rolls per DM than any subclass so far. But I guess we should have seen that coming. But first... Okay guys, so there's no bid to this one. I want to talk about something serious for just a minute. It's been a long road, and through a lot of self-reflection and therapy, I think I'm finally able to open up about a specific part of my life that I've been keeping from the world for a long time. And that's that... I'm a weeb. Yes, I'm a weeb, and I'm tired of being ashamed of it. And that's why when D&D Shorts reached out to me about promoting their new Kickstarter, Ryoko's Guide to the Yokai Realms, I had myself a little freak out. This huge 350-page tome is jam-packed full of Japanese-inspired folklore with new feats, a weapon mastery skill tree system to make martials more fun, the Element Bender class inspired by everyone's favorite non-anime anime, and a brand new combat system lets you fight kaiju as big as Godzilla, Mothra, and Grape Ape. Holy cow, guys, I think I might faint just from the art on this Kickstarter alone. It's so goddamn beautiful! This Kickstarter is brought to us by many talented creators looking to create a D&D experience that has evolved beyond the Western folklore aesthetic to bring us a beautiful, engaging world full of new monsters, new familiars, new spells, and Sekiro ninja prosthetics. And if that isn't worth the price of admission, there's just nothing I can do for you, bud. This book offers a one-of-a-kind experience brought to you through hard work and a love for the community, and it's so great to see that being rewarded. So please, go to this link below and support Ryoko's Guide to the Yokai Realms today, because I know I am. A big thanks to D&D Shorts and the Ryoko's Guide team for sponsoring the show, and now, back to the video. So you're thinking about diving into the future-telling business. Well, you're gonna need a few things. Silly hats? Check. Over-the-top personality? Check. Mild cultural insensitivity? Check-a-rooney? But you also need some kind of method to your madness, so why not use a little magic? So we're gonna get some spellcasting at level 1. This gives you a bunch of spells right out the gate, but also a spell book that can take pretty much any form you like. From the classic dusty tome to arcane tattoos to some neat tarot cards. Move over, Merlin, with your cloaks and your reading. I just spent 10 hours mastering sleight of hand street magic on YouTube, and it's given me secret arcane knowledge like my personal hero, Chris Angel. Wizards also get arcane recovery, letting you recover spell slots equal to half your wizard level rounded up, so you can keep the party going even if you're a bit sleepy. At second level, we choose our wizard school, because just like that annoying smart kid in everyone's elementary school, the wizard gets to skip a grade and get their subclass a level early. This also allows you to copy divination spells into your book at half the golden time, but something about this subclass tells me you should have already known those. We also get this neat ability to, what was it? Oh yeah.
Completely obliterate the universal truths of space and time and manipulate them to fitting your needs! Twice a day.
This ability is called Your Portent because it's important to the Divination Wizard's whole kit. Just scratch that. Essentially, every morning you roll 2d20, and at some point during the day you can replace any attack, saving throw, or an ability check made by you, an ally, or a creature you can see with one of those dice. Did the Oni you're fighting just make the saving throw against the Cleric's Banishment? Think again, loser, nat 1. Did your Assassin Rogue just roll a 3 to hit the enemy at a critical moment? Just kidding, nat 20, double sneak attack, get wrecked. This ability is exceptionally powerful and lets you essentially just look the DM right in the eye with your middle finger held high. But we're not done yet. You see, it's always been my theory that if you're good at something, you should go ahead and lean into it. I mean, I got this job because of my ADHD and skill with PowerPoint presentations. But for a young divination wizard, we gotta grab anything we can to be as aggravating as possible. So at some point you need to pick up silvery barbs. Similar to your portent die, you can spend your reaction to inflict disadvantage on any successful attack, ability check, or save made within 60 feet. Then, just as a cherry on top, you can give advantage to an ally. Silvery Barbs has a fun little reputation as another fuck you to your DM, but just make sure you keep your distance. Without shield spells to count on, your poor wizard can easily become the target of a pissed off dungeon master. At 3rd level, we pick up some cantrip formulas, giving you the entire wizard cantrip library you can swap in and out on a long rest, but we're going to jump up to 4th level so we can pick up some feats. And like any good foot soldier, I marched down to my favorite site, WikiFeet. No, that's... oh, feet with an A. We can edit this out, right? Now, I don't always talk about these because I love the idea that you can use feats to better flesh out your perfect character, but there's one feat that fits the divination wizard so well I feel obliged to mention it here, and that's the lucky feat. This gives you 3 luck die that you can once again use to reroll an attack, ability check, or save, or best for you, cause disadvantage on an enemy's attacks. That gives you 3 luck die, 2 portent die, and as many of your first level spell slots you can spend. With these combined, you are an absolute nightmare in most encounters, just forcing constant rerolls and big time DMI rolls. At 6th level, we get Expert Divination, so we can roll the bones even more precisely and get back a lower spell slot anytime we cast a divination spell of 2nd level or higher, as long as the spell cast isn't higher than 5th level. Your diviner abilities make sure you always have a little magic to fall back on, spending only a fraction of the magical effort a normal spell might, and providing plenty of slots for silvery barbs. Skipping on down to 10th level, our divination wizard opens their 3rd eye, bad CG included. But at least ours lets us access one of 4 abilities, letting you swap on a short rest. Your creepy forehead eye can give you an extended dark vision to a range of 60 feet, the ability to see invisible creatures and objects within 10 feet, ethereal sight to let you see through the ethereal plane for 60 feet, or greater comprehension so you can read any language. It really is incredibly difficult to get anything past you, and the ability to hot swap these depending on the situation makes everything from dungeon crawling to ghost hunting an absolute breeze. Take that, Zach Baggins, you fraud. But it's 14th level where our divination wizard becomes a true master of pain-in-the-ass antics with greater portent. Now you can roll 3 portent die instead of just 2 after every long rest. It's a simple buff, but oftentimes those are the most powerful, and this is no exception. So counted up, that's 3 portent die, 3 lucky die, and so many spell slots to hit him with the silvery barbs. You really are just the living embodiment of the phrase, actually, as you force rerolls multiple times a turn. 17th level gets you 9th level spells like the divination spell Foresight, giving any creature you touch advantage on attacks, ability checks, and saves, as well as causing enemies to have a disadvantage against that creature. But you're a wizard and you get 2 spells, and Wish is, you know, right there. Wish is great, and it does everything and more, and I've talked about it a bunch, but for a spellcaster it really is an insane thing to pass up. 18th level gets us Spell Mastery, making your choice of a 1st and 2nd level spell castable at will, and while I think Misty Step is still the best 2nd level option, Silvery Barbs is now unlimited. Really diving into what makes this class good is also the thing that makes it the most aggravating, and the thing that makes me very happy. And finally, 20th level gets us Signature Spells, which lets you choose 2 3rd level spells you can cast once a day without expending a spell slot. We haven't talked too much about 3rd level divination spells because there aren't that many to begin with, but clairvoyance can be a lot of fun. But just pick Counterspell and Fireball, I know you want to. Seriously though, the Divination Wizard is a ton of fun to play, and I don't have to be a fortune teller to know some of you are going to be enraging your DMs very soon. The whole point of this subclass is to force the dice into your favor, and I think you have so many ways to make that happen. Taking the lucky feat isn't necessary for this sub to work either, but it's so much fun for that little extra bit of DM irritation. And we can crank this up even more if we play as a halfling, making nat 1s completely disappear. Unfortunately, one downside is that there aren't that many divination spells to take advantage of your expert divination ability, but you have so much going on for you everywhere else, it's not that big a deal. Portent is just so good. Maybe too good. Imagine slapping that onto an arcane trickster or a hexblade warlock with just a 2-level wizard dip. This even works with barbarians for Pete's sake, as the portent is just an ability that happens, not a spell or anything that requires concentration. An ability so powerful it can literally uplift every class is not something to take lightly. It's really strong. And you're still a wizard. Wizards are just kind of broken in D&D. I think there's probably a little bias on that too. But it means that even when you're not gaining new abilities at every level, your huge catalog of spells more than makes up for it. And as much as I love the Blade Singer, this may be one of the best examples of a true wizard's wizard. So if you've ever been shopping for a fishbowl round enough to pass for a crystal ball, keep a pack of tarot cards in your back pocket for an emergency reading even though nobody asked for it, and are the cause of many a mental health break for the guy who can decide if a meteor suddenly flattens your character's entire continent, guess what? You might be a divination wizard.
You know who this is?
No, who is this?
Toto? I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Hey Internet, welcome to another episode of The Game. If you're just joining us, we are a tabletop talk show and podcast brought to you by Dungeon Studios. There's Doc. We go beyond live play and dive deep into topics from session zeros to campaign heroes. Today, we have a very interesting guest with us. Do you want to introduce yourself, Paolo?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'm Paolo Garbanzo. I am, most of my life is spent at the Renaissance fairs performing all over, not just America, but in Europe as well. I am a lifelong player of Dungeons and Dragons and many other role-playing games as well. And I also started doing my own Dungeons and Dragons at the castle that I'm a jester of.
It's so cool. It's
England.
So cool.
And weirdly enough, I'm not trying to like take credit for D&D in a castle or anything like that. But I was doing tours in Europe, like normal tours. Like I would bring people to Renaissance festivals and medieval festivals in Europe, places that actually had the Renaissance. And of course, that Venn diagram of people who go to Renaissance fairs and people who are interested in actually going to like medieval Renaissance festivals in medieval festivals in Europe also play Dungeons and Dragons. So I was like, they were like, because I would describe, this is the city that I stole this whole city. It's in my campaign, and now all the wizards live. And they were like, wait, you play Dungeons and Dragons? I was like, yeah. I work at Ren fairs, seriously. And they were like, I would sit down and play D&D with you right now. And so we we went to an actual like a tavern in this medieval city that is 800 years old, and we played D&D. During our Italy tour.
Wow.
And I was like, So,
bing, light bulb.
And that's really how it began, completely by accident. It was really, that's great. That's awesome.
And then I came back to America and I heard about D&D in a castle, and I was like, hey.
Wait.
I did that first.
Not taking credit for it. It was the time for it.
Well, how did you originally get into the game, if I can ask? How did you originally get into the game?
You said you've been playing what, lifelong?
Yes. I mean, I was 8, 9.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
2 older brothers who played it. And then, of course, I was the younger brother. What is this magical thing you're doing? And then, of course, one night when some players didn't show up and they were a little low on players, and they were like, maybe we should let them play. Yeah. And then from there, and then, of course, when you start doing that, then you're like, okay, now I'm 10, 11, and I've got my buddies at my school, and I'm the one with the experience playing D&D. So then I start being the dungeon master. So then, of course, that's how I started being the all-time dungeon master since like 4th grade.
So you're a forever DM?
Yeah, and
you're a forever DM?
I don't usually have a problem with it. Sometimes I do kind of just go, golly, it would be nice to just play like one character for a whole session.
Yeah. And not just for 2 minutes as an NPC.
Right. I really liked that character that I played for like a minute before they stabbed him.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah. So
That's
Wow.
wild. Now, can I ask, because I'm coming into this a little bit fresh. Do you and Doc already knew each other, or how did you guys get into contact?
Okay.
Because Doc pulled you in.
yeah.
All right, I guess I have to tell the story because Paulo doesn't
Yeah.
know the story.
Okay.
I've been in Maryland now for 20 years. And I've been going to Renfest in Maryland. If you live in Maryland, going to Renfest is sort of the thing you do. It's a huge Renfest. And there are some classic performers there. And they are top-notch improv, and it's so audience I love it. I eat it up.
Oh yeah.
And
the Ren Fairs being the last bastion of vaudeville comedy.
yeah, absolutely.
It's a whole nother miniseries.
Yeah. And you got Amber, because then you got all the people in the cosplays are out.
Oh yeah.
You got the Doctor Who fans are out because they're traveling in time. You got,
the Star Trek fans even come out.
right. Everybody's there at that thing, right? Yeah, because they're beaming in. It's okay. So then what's happened is I've gone so many years and I've seen Paulo perform. And this year I went and I have my Riddler hat, my daughter, we got to go. And my daughter's wearing this rainbow beholder. I'm wearing my Mind Flayer shirt. We're in the front row with the question mark. And we're having a great time. And we had a lot of eye contact going. And then he said something about D&D. And I was just like, he's on. I turned to my daughter. I'm like, he's on the show. I'm getting him on the show. I'm going up and buying a 21-sided because I have to have.
Oh, that's how you got the die.
Paulo is the official 21-sided guy. And asked the guy at the table at selling the dice. I said, "Yo, I got to talk to Paulo. What do I do? Where do I go?" That's where I got your card.
There you go.
He commented in one of our shows, "Hey, you got my card." Yeah, that's where I got his card. And I was like, "No, I'm going to hunt you down and get him on the show." And then he's talking
surprisingly easy to get a hold of, honestly.
Yeah, and then D&D in the castle. And he mentioned about doing it long before D&D in the castle. So I wanted to have him on our show to say, put in as an official stamp on that for him.
Yeah,
I'm just not as famous as those guys. So
that's right.
I was like, wow, their budget is. Man, so
that's how it happened. So then he's here, and I said, "Can you come on?" And he said, "Sure." So here we are.
I wanted to add, because you were saying that even the Star Trek fans show up.
Go ahead.
So I had mentioned at one of my shows, I say a lot of random stuff. I happened to just go off into this like sci-fi whole endeavor, and and I like a little Star Trek. And so I don't know if you're familiar with, there is the time traveling cops in Star Trek, right? Who kind of fix things. They make sure.
Yeah.
So some of the Star Trek hardcore fans who happened to be at the show that I just went off on this real crazy tangent. They made me an ID badge that says Paolo Garbanzo, and that I am actually with Starfleet in the unit. That is the time traveling unit.
So cool.
So that I can go up to people who are wearing Star Trek uniforms and go, "Excuse me, sir, I need to talk to you over here." And I would take them aside and go, "Listen, these people don't know anything about space travel. You're messing it up. Get it like a tunic."
You're breaking
or
the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
I
love it.
So fun. Oh, what do they do?
They made me a whole, on the outside it's just looks like a leather thing you'd have at the Renaissance, and the inside it's like ID badge, Starfleet, everything. It was great. So
that is fabulous.
Okay, have you had any hilarious reactions because of that, or anything that you could talk on?
Well, I just got that a few weeks ago, so I've only I only did it one time to these people, and they blew their mind, because of course
that's cool.
To have these things in your pocket, it's like, wait, I'm gonna walk around. It's not hard to find some Star Trek people. They're around. So
yeah,
but
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that out because it was
that's so great.
So funny.
Paulo the Jester is a temporal director now. I love it.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Loki, right? Right? That's what he's doing now too, right?
I can neither confirm nor deny
the existence of Loki.
There they go again.
Are you a variant? Pretty sure you're a variant.
I'm variable, at least.
So can I learn a little bit more about this 21-sided die? What was the purpose?
It is a 20-sided die.
It is
totally
okay.
street legal for all of your back alley D&D games. But what we've done is It goes to 11 if it only went to 10, but now it goes to 21.
Yes.
So it is a 20-sided die, but it leveled up. So it's a leveled up 20-sided die. We've sent all of our dice out on Epic Quest. The one that returned have leveled up to 21. So it is the best a 20 can be, which is a 21. So there you go.
Can I ask, because I am such a dice goblin, how do we get a hold of those?
Well, they happen to be on our Nat 21 Adventures website.
Yeah.
Yes, so you can get them. Yes, we have, of course, we also run a Twitch channel, Nat 21 Adventures, and of course that was formed when all of us Renaissance Fair performers who all play D&D together were out of a job during COVID.
Wow. Yeah.
And we had, we'd always kind of like talked about like we should do a D&D show. Like we're fun.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
you guys must be hilarious because you're all pretty much comedians.
Yeah, everyone I play with is improv comedy actors. Like this is their training, and so now they're like, and of course, if you're just like, they can play serious sometimes, every once in a while. But even in the most like Cthulhu game where we're like, we've got to find the thing. Somebody always finds out how to trebuchet a chicken across. And
fantastic.
Or we'll literally have an entire game where we just try to one up each other's hat. That has happened.
Now, can that still be seen?
The hat one. Well, the hat one wasn't. That was just us playing D&D. So
no. But I mean the Twitch where you guys all got together and played.
So all of our old episodes are on YouTube, so you can look that up. Nat 21 Adventures.
Cool. Very nice. Yeah, that sounds really exciting.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I mean.
We just had, if you're familiar with Jack the Whipper, TikTok super megastar. He was just on our show last night, actually. So he plays a lot with us. I've been friends with him forever, and of course he is a big D&D guy. So, but yeah, he got to play the big bad guy, and at the end of our season, and he just came in and just wrecked the players.
Okay, wait. So I want to hear more about this. So he came in specifically to be the BBAG or the bad guy. Okay, he wasn't like somebody who turned bad.
He did turn bad because we've been playing with him 2 seasons before.
Are these too many spoilers for people that want to go see?
No.
Okay.
It was very
point.
surprising for people who just showed up because we have like there's probably like 20 episodes of Into the Feywild is what we did a whole Feywild adventure, and he goes off starting off young and hopeful and ended the whole thing with like, I'm killing all of you, and then he leaves. And he actually didn't leave. He actually got plane shifted by one of the other players who was like,
"Peace out."
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm coming for all of y'all." And so so now he just showed up because we have another group that we had playing, but they were running missions for his now enemy, right? And they're running missions for him, and so they're like doing other things, and then they ran smack into him, and it was bad. So.
Wow,
that sounds great.
That sounds like so much fun. I can't wait to watch that.
No, it was great. You can probably see it on Twitch currently because it's still up there. That was just last night. So
wow.
Cool.
Okay,
so this is very current. Well,
last night as of filming this, but it'll be a week ago. So.
We're time traveling again.
Yeah, it'll be up on YouTube.
Out.
Right. So, Doc, it sounded like you had a question because I have a question.
I wanted to ask because I see you in Maryland every year. Do you do a whole circuit through the U.S.? Can we hear your circuit that you run?
So we'll start at we'll start at the new year. So I actually I do a tour to Sicily for New Year's, and that's part of the Ren Adventures is my tour company, and then we do a couple of shows there. So New Year's, then we go into the first real big show is I do a couple of gaming conventions in February-ish, depends. Actually, this coming February, I know it's a crazy schedule. This coming February, I'm taking Jack the Whipper, and we are going to Rome for Carnevale. And so this is going to be his first international performance. We're taking a whole group of people who are dying to see Jack and might be happy to see me. I don't know. and so we're going to do a big Italy thing for Carnevale, which is it's Mardi Gras, but
right.
it's
In Rome.
it's a little different in Italy. You can check it out on YouTube. It's great. But like different parts of Italy do it differently, so it's crazy.
All regional, all
Gotcha.
regional things go on.
Cool.
So then Carnivale, then I do the Sherwood Forest Fair, which is in Texas. That runs March and April. Then I'm in the Tennessee Renaissance Festival, which is south of Nashville, and that's in May. And then June is our Dungeons and Dragons tour to Muncaster Castle, which is the castle that I'm a jester of. And then what is that? June, July. Then we come back and do Gen Con. And then Gen Con. Then it's I do another steampunk festival, which is really fun. Key City Steampunk.
Cool.
Love those guys. They're great.
Where's that?
That's in Pennsylvania, in Gettysburg.
Okay.
Give them a shout again. Who's that?
It's Key City Steampunk Festival Convention.
All
and
right.
it's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It's a lot of fun. They're so much heart. Everybody's great costumes. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm not far from there. I'd love to check that out.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Steampunk costumes are like another level of cosplay to me.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of little pieces that I don't know you necessarily need for like a fantasy cosplay.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like it's like whenever I do a steampunk convention, I'm underdressed.
Yeah.
Most of my costuming is Renaissance or medieval, and I've got all the bells and whistles and all the little things.
Yeah.
And like I'm just starting to do a steampunk costume, and I'm like, and because I'm doing I do a couple steampunk conventions, but I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many bangles and bits to do, and it's just the costuming is fantastic. If you want to see some hardcore costumers, go check out a steampunk convention.
That's cool.
And then it's Maryland, and then I go
Maryland.
down to Louisiana, and that's November and part of December, and then back around all the way back around to the end of the year again. So
wow. So I'm gonna tack onto this real quick because you mentioned Rome, and it's like so casually like I'm just gonna perform in Rome. I understand you perform in 3 languages. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's crazy. So what are they're obviously Italian. What else?
Italian. I can do my show in German, and I can kind of speak German. If most German people would just say he can say a lot of words,
right.
But so I can do my show, and I know what I'm saying in German. There's a lot of crazy German stories about that, though, and then and I can get through the airport and a hotel and a restaurant. But if we started talking about anything that I didn't directly have in my show, I'm absolutely lost. So
right.
So now now is that something that you've known all your life, like you can speak these languages, or did you purposely seek out to learn these languages so that you could perform? Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So my family speaks Italian, but my family speaks Sicilian. Which
there's
is
a difference.
Yeah. I was gonna say my family spoke
both
too. You gotta specify. Yeah. I'm with you
on
that.
And unfortunately, my mom, because she grew up here, so her family spoke a mix of Italian and Sicilian, and didn't really know which one was Sicilian and which one is Italian. So then I actually had to like learn Italian, because then I ended up working in Turin, which does not speak Sicilian. So
wow.
And so
is it close? I don't know the difference. Is it close enough that like you can kind of tell, but it's butchering it?
I can understand it when it's spoken, but Sicilian is such a different dialect. It should be considered a different language. If Spanish is considered a different language from Italian, then Sicilian.
And
got it.
That's about as far away as it is.
Sicily's very different too. It's very different geographically, and big melting pot of cultures and languages and
thousands of years of history.
It's completely,
which is why I give a tour there, because I'm a big history buff, so I just love the. Archimedes, they say like, Archimedes is Greek. He's like, yes, he was of Greek civilization, but he actually grew up in Sicily. Sicily was like a colony of Greece. And so you're like, when you talk about the Greeks, you're actually just talking about these Sicilian guys who, yes.
They kind of split off.
They split off. It's like saying, like Americans would be English people.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
Well, they're Americans, right? So
now, have you seen the catacombs in Sicily?
Oh, yes.
You have seen the catacombs. And
So
oh my God.
Doc seems to be a big history buff too. He's the guy you'll hear when he does his magical Q&A. It's awesome.
So this is why I love to give the tours, because, and again, it's like, especially when I relate them to like my Dungeons and Dragons campaign, because there's there's this side note. There's a great cool city, Taormina in Sicily. It's gorgeous. It's 2,800 years old, give or take.
Wow.
And it's way up on this mountainside. And the streets are paved with marble because that's how rich they were. And you're like, marble, that's a terrible stone to use.
Wouldn't it be slippery?
It's very soft, right? And so if you ran carts all over it all day long, it would wear out. But that tells you how rich they were, because they either didn't care, replaced it all the time, or were so rich that they just had people carry all their stuff. So, and it's a gorgeous city. And I was like, ooh, this is I literally basically took their town and then I put it inside of a bigger city that I've created in my world. And it is where all the wizards live in their gated community.
Yeah.
And they're like literally in ivory towers. Like,
yeah. They can have roads paved in marble.
Yeah. And the rest of the city is just like, what?
Yeah, I've been sharing they have like the different, I guess they're like fresco drawings of like the catacomb maps.
Oh yeah.
And I've been sharing them with my adventure team because I just think these are like the coolest. Look at these things. They're great.
It's pretty amazing. And again, the history that goes back more than 3,000 years. The Phoenicians were in Sicily. There were people there before the Greeks and the Phoenicians fought over it, and the Carthaginians. Like, you're like, where did those people go? And there are tombs to those people, the Siculi people. There's stone tombs, so when I'm playing D&D and I've got like, this is a 500-year-old tomb, or this is a 1,000-year-old tomb. It's like, is it a 2,000-year-old tomb? Because probably most of them have already been robbed. Just
right.
My players hate that because I'm always like, it's empty. It's empty.
Yeah.
It's empty. There's a cup. Someone has a mug there.
Yeah, in all of these 2,000 years, someone has already been here before you.
People clean this stuff out all, So, but yeah.
Oh my gosh! So now New Orleans, you do the tour of New Orleans. Now the reason why we play Mask of the Red Death 5e rules set in New Orleans, set in the 1890s.
We're actually doing a D&D event there this coming. Right. It's our first one, and spoiler alert, it is the Red Death. So.
Now, are you doing the variation is really good. The game set, the rule set is excellent.
Yeah.
Because they did it a little bit differently than classes.
We're gonna use mostly the 5e rules, and then we're just modifying a little bit because it is kind of it's a one shot. We're there.
Right. No, that's the new rule set that they have out for that is really, really good. I think it's set up really that's awesome. So great. And when is that again?
That is during the middle of or the end of the run of the Louisiana Fair. So that's December, say 5 through 9.
All right. So people have plenty of time to see this and hear about it if they're interested and get involved.
There's a few spots left. So
all right.
It's filling up fast though. We're kind of like,
So can I ask if we're done talking about the shows that you do? I'm really curious about this accolade that you have of being the first American in history to be an official jester of an English castle. I want to hear how that came about. Okay, let me back up.
No, it's odd and unusual.
So as soon as I heard that we were going to be interviewing you, I went looking up, all these things, and I'm talking to my son is 15 right now. He loves improv. He's tried out for the improv club so many times. He is just a little, I wouldn't say little,
awesome.
He's taller than me, handball. But I told him about these accolades that you had, and he was fascinated. And I know that he would kill me if I didn't ask about this.
Absolutely. So I'd been working in Europe. I have to say, like, the community of, say, like, street performers and stage performers of the variety arts, it's a very small community. We all kind of know each other. We're only two, I'm only 2 people away from any street performer in Australia. Like
Yeah.
that's how small the community is. Like, oh, Dave from Australia. I met Dave, of course. Whatever. Like, that group of acrobats. Oh, yeah, I met them at some festival in Austria.
Wow.
Like the community is surprisingly small.
Okay, that's interesting. I had no idea of that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and there's Fringe Festival, all sorts of different festivals that we all run into each other, and like it gets around.
Yeah.
We get around. So the Muncaster, they have this competition. It's kind of like, hey, I'm around. It's a little bit of an invite. It's also, they're also looking for other people. So like they're like, hey, I can recommend you for these guys, and so they, friend of mine recommended me to them. They looked at my stuff and said, would you like to compete? And so I, worked it out with my schedule, and so I competed. So Muncaster, the reason that they have a Jester competition is because they are the home of the original tomfool. So the guy that we get that term,
right?
The tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery, right? That's that guy. So of course they're like, well, let's continue the Jester competition. Let's continue that history come alive, and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's neat.
They are the nicest people that I know who own a castle. And
how many people competed? Because first you had to sort of get into the group in the first place.
The final competition is 6. Okay. Yeah. And I was up against 3 English guys and another American and a French person. And so and it was my first time performing in England. So like I had, I'd been street performing in Italy and a little bit in Germany. But like English people are a whole other audience. And
their humor's different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. and like I'm like, because you have a show in English, you can't directly relate it to Italian. You have to kind of like these jokes don't even work. You have to come up with something else. The wording is wrong. So you end up modifying everything. German, same thing. You end up it does make a lot of sense though.
Yeah.
Because innuendo is very different in different languages.
All the things that you wouldn't think about.
They have phrases that we don't, and we have phrases they don't, and just back and forth. And so you just go, all right, what can I do? What words do I even know? But you go to England and you're like, well, I speak English.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean in English. You're fucking American English. And you have all not just the language, which it does have different stuff. They do have different words for different things. So just culturally, you're used to American culture and they're used to English culture. So there were the two English guys when I competed, and I was like, I'm pretty good. But it was like, if I lose, it's going to be to one of those 2 English guys, because they had all of the nuance of English humor and they were killing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I lose, it's going to be one of those. But
and what did you have to? Is it like you're
that's what I wanted to
on
ask
stage?
You.
Okay, thank you.
What were the requirements like?
Yeah, you have to do the swimsuit,
shot put, javelin throw,
swimsuit competition. I killed it, and so
are you getting judged on your costume, your appearance? I'm very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they had 3 judges, and you basically had to do a show inside a 30-minute, and so they had this whole big day of they have a whole week of Jester, and so you have this whole big thing, but then like the final day is when they the judges are actually like, okay, and you got to cut all of the material you would love to do down into about 25 minutes, and you're just like, what? That's tough, because when you've got my normal show is 45 minutes, and there's other and I have several shows, so I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? What's gonna be the best thing to impress the judges? Can
you not you can't reuse any of the material that you did maybe earlier?
Right. Yeah, you're trying to be fresh for the judges, so you don't want to do like, they already saw that or whatever, and you want to, of course, bring your original comedy to the table. So
so somehow, what do you feel like there was a defining moment of? Do you remember that performance at all, where you could say pretty sure that's what won me this thing?
Well, I eat a raw onion.
Oh no!
So most jugglers will eat an apple.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not most juggler. And so I don't know which show you saw.
Yeah, I did see that. I have seen this.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen
I only
this
see that
bit.
show once a day because let me tell you, I don't actually enjoy eating onions.
Yeah. Who would?
But yeah, so basically the whole thing is like there's some props and I have an apple, I have an onion, I have an orange, and then eventually by the time we get to the point where I'm going to do that trick, the audience is like yelling at me to eat the onion. And
right. It's
And it
great.
paid
It's a
off.
great setup. It's a great setup too.
yeah,
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Ugh.
That is
yeah,
so
So
cool.
it was, but it's just mostly like those type of things. You do anything like no one's like doing like some great soliloquies or anything
Oh.
like that.
well, I mean, like that was the thing. The English guys, I'll tell you, the let's go off on a tangent of like they, this one guy had this costume that looked like he was like Queen Victoria
Okay.
sitting on a throne. Like that was the costume. Like a whole
Wow.
The
It
whole
included
throne,
the
everything.
he did like a 10-minute routine about like Queen Victoria, blah, 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 like and of
Okay,
course,
yeah.
the English are just eating it up because of course it's it's Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria.
Right.
Kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And just and I was just like, oh my god. And then he did. So this was several years ago. He did a whole thing about river dance,
Oh no.
and it was,
I'm already laughing.
it was the best. So he had these little bobble dolls, like you turn them on and they vibrate. They have the little legs.
Uh-huh.
Dressed them all up as Irish dancers, and had like a line of 20 of them.
Oh my god.
He comes out as Michael Flannery, and dressed as the Lord of Dance, this great wig and everything, and he prances around. The bobble dolls are like doing this, sometimes they like fall over, and they're like, like. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And then like just the ending thing was like he does this move and he stops and he goes, and that's exactly what river dance looks like. And you just, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, if I lose, it's to this guy, and
Wow.
I would be happy to lose to him. But
But
Yeah,
you
'cause I-
didn't.
That's great. That's because I could see a lot of soliloquy. I idolize you as a jester because when I was in college, we used to do magical dinners, and I would be the jester. And my big thing was I would bring notes to all the lords and ladies, run the notes back and forth. And then the first year I did it, I did the Midsummer Night's Dream play within a play. I condensed all the characters into, a one-man show and did like a goofy show. And then the next year I wrote my own thing about a demon
Who knew
and
Doc
the
was
devil.
a comedian?
Yeah, and I did that. I did that for a couple of years. So I always loved gesturing, and then to hear you're official, and it's so cool. It's so great to have you over there.
they have a
bubbling again. Woohoo.
Oh, that's so good. So they have a Fool's Feast on April 1st. So we go back. So when you're the fool, so you come back and they have a fool's dinner where you become the king for the day and the lord of the castle becomes your jester. And
wow.
Oh, that's great.
Biggest shout out to that man. He did the Ode to the Haggis by Robert Burns, the Scottish poet, did the entire Ode to the Haggis with movement.
With eloquence.
It was
Wow.
eloquent. It was hilarious. It was so good.
Okay, so you win and you are the official jester. So that's your prize, as you will. Did they do you get any like anything else to memorialize this?
Well, you get the pay that Tom Fool got, which
No
is
way.
a year's supply of beer.
No way.
Nice.
And 5 pounds of pepper.
What do you do with that?
Well, in the 1500s, you could do a lot.
Yeah.
Pepper was expensive.
I was gonna say spices were money.
You
Spices
could
were
literally sell a tablespoon of peppercorn and get
Wow.
everything you ever wanted.
Wow.
And, and by the way, pepper is really light, so 5 pounds of it.
Yeah.
Is,
A lot.
Yeah, it's like a garbage bag.
I could just kind of imagine you with like this thing of black pepper that's as tall as you are.
Yeah.
No scepter. No scepter.
So they have. So here's the interesting thing. If you want to look this up, so Tom Fool, they have a portrait of him. It is the largest portrait of a non-noble person during that time period in England, because he actually made very well for himself. He ended up being the steward of the castle. He was actually taking care of stuff. He was like big man on campus, and
So he really wasn't a fool.
he was a wise fool, as they say. And so he actually has this painting of him. So it's a very famous outfit that he has, which is weird. Like it's white and blue and yellow, and it's these like checkerboard sort of thing. Crazy. But if you look up painting Tom Fool, I'm sure you'll get it.
How cool.
But it's nice. It's a humongous painting. And the funny thing is, it's almost life size. It's the painting is like 6 feet tall. So it's almost a life size picture of him. On the table next to him is his will, and it's the entire thing. You can read it.
Oh my gosh.
And it has the whole thing laid out.
Wow.
Like, so that nobody could be like, I have his real will.
And it says he has a copy painted with him. Oh, that's like
no, you don't, because it's right here. And it says you have to bring your own beer and bring your own beer to his funeral. It literally says that. It's hilarious.
Wow.
He's like, I'll provide some food. Here's this money set aside for my funeral, but you got to bring your own beer.
So how does this, can I ask, because I've never won a year's worth of anything. Do they just like ship you like automatically beer, or do you have like a card that you can use at a location?
No,
how does it work?
So they actually were like, if there was a stack of beer, they were like, technically that's a year's supply, because it was like measured. You know, they were like, whatever, how many gallons of, I can't remember how many exact gallons. They're like, technically there's like 40 cases of beer. And, you know, like, if you want to drink it, you can, you don't have to. It's like, cause I was like, I'm only going to be here for a week. And
right. I was going to say, how do you bring that home?
So, you know, eventually I don't think I might not have drank a whole year's supply of beer.
Wow.
Because you come back, you know, it came back in April, came back in some other times of the year. So I might have been shorted a few beers. I don't know. I'll find. But,
you're like, hey, what am I?
Now I'm wondering if he's related to Stingy Jack at all in Ireland.
Oh, tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. I wonder if he's related to Stingy Jack at all.
I don't know. But well, I mean, I don't know if Stingy Jack is it confirmed that he's a real person? So because
I don't know.
No, we just talked about this recently.
So he really is a real. You're a real person. I don't know if Stingy Jack is a real person or not. No, it does not. There's no confirmation if he's real. But it's just kind of funny. Same that I just think about. We were talking about that 2 weeks ago. So
So
and Jack or lanterns.
Yeah, there is real evidence that Tom Fool was a real person. Skelton was his actual name. So, but then I don't know if you heard the story that I told. Sometimes I tell the story at my show. Sometimes it just depends on how much time. So the funny thing about Tom Fool is that he actually was involved in a few murders. He was He was a bit murdery. One of his jokes was tricking you to go down into the river where the tidal river, that the difference between the high tide and low tide is 30 feet. And if you're in the marshland at low tide and you're way out in the marshland, that tide moves fast.
Yeah, you're not getting back in time.
And you can be like way out, and suddenly 30 feet of water rolls in on you and you drown.
Wow.
And
oh my goodness.
He used to do his thing where basically, I'll try to give you the quickest, most concise story. But so as a jester, you don't have a rank in society, right? Okay. So there's high ranking people, there's low ranking people, but you're a jester, you're over here. You're not really in society, which is good and bad. It means you can hang out with anybody in society, but also means that anyone can treat you badly because you're not in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
You're over here. So that means you can be treated like just a dog. And if you treated him very badly and then asked him how to get across the river,
clever boy.
Yeah. So one of the quotes is like, he says, yeah, you just go down there with the swampy part and you just, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And the guy said, are you sure? That doesn't look safe. Saw a family with young children cross it this morning. A family of ducks. Womp, womp.
Yeah, he was a lion.
And that guy died. So he did that. He got he hooked up. He befriended some knight and then managed to convince the knight that this guy was sleeping with his girlfriend, and so the knight stabbed that guy.
Some double crossing.
Drama City over there, man. Drama City. So
man, so yeah, it really reminds me of, when I watch period dramas and stuff, that kind of backstabbing, or it really happened.
Oh, and
wow.
He was dating a nun as
He
well.
was dating a nun.
Just to catch the because it seems to me, my impression is that he really was like poking the social structure of the society, and he's like, I'm just gonna date a nun.
Why not?
And you're like, you can't date a nun. It's like, yeah, I can. Watch. And like,
just because he could prove it.
So I'm sure they were very nice to each other. But yeah, he did was like, yeah, I'm dating.
All right, so I'm going to bring it back to D&D.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to bring us back to D&D for a bit. So let me ask you. I know in the old rules, second edition, somewhere along the line, Dragon Magazine put in a jester as a character. 5e doesn't actually have a jester. Have you homebrewed a jester, or do you think there's a place for a jester in a D&D game?
Well, and I would, I'll let you answer that, but I'm also going to posit what would be the difference between a jester and a bard in 5e. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I'm so glad you asked.
Okay.
Because that's fine. Interjection.
I am working on an entire circus group of bard subclass.
Interesting.
Basically, it's basically all of my performer friends at Ren Fairs.
Yes, how cool.
So, focusing on acrobat skills and juggling and doing all those things. So it's in the works. It's going to be out at Gen Con.
Nice.
So
you're doing a Kickstarter or anything, or
there will be a Kickstarter. Yes.
Nice. That sounds an awesome idea.
Still put it all together. Still in but yeah. So the thing. That's a great question, and comes up with touches on so many little pet peeves of mine. Partially about, I guess it's not about bards so much as like the language skills in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm all about people learning tons of skills, but like I happen to know that it's really hard to learn another language and another language. But also I really enjoyed so I also perform in the Czech Republic. My Czech is terrible. Mm-hmm. I know maybe 12 words in Czech. Mm-hmm. But being entertaining while also only knowing those few words, that's
a long way.
That's my performance skill.
Yeah.
But I still had to learn those 12 words. So and I have to take this, like, even when I was in like high school taking language classes, I actually, all right, back it up even further. So, of course, I played first edition Dungeons and Dragons. And then I modified Dungeons and Dragons so much that when second edition came out, I looked at it and went, well, I already changed all these rules. So I didn't need to play second edition.
Right. Okay, I know where you're at. Yeah.
Because everyone was playing my campaign anyway.
Right.
We're just going to keep playing. Third edition came out. Oh, yeah, I already changed all these rules. We're going to still play my Dungeons and Dragons, which had modified so far away from first edition anyway, that first edition was mostly guideline. Right. And then there were
absolutely. Yeah.
So 3.5 comes out, 4 comes out. I don't even care.
Yeah.
But I finally switched to 5e because that's what the kids are playing. So, so I guess, but I almost feel like, I should have just made my own role play game, but because I had language points.
I was gonna say, can you still not? I mean, now's the time.
Oh, absolutely. So it's like, and I'm not. It's like I am by far the person who does not care about rules.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's like, I think that you shouldn't necessarily be fluent in a language, but you can know a language.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like it.
So like, if you're an elf, you speak Elvish fluently. And also partially because this, I feel, makes more role-playing action, like it makes more tension.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll into a city and I speak Dwarven, but I'm not a dwarf.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's going to be like, dwarves will like you for speaking their language. And if you're good at it, then they'll even like you even more. Mm-hmm. But if, hey, well, he speaks a few words. So like I literally had scaled languages. So like you had to spend 4 language points to get proficient. Mm-hmm. So back in first edition, of course, like if you had a really high intelligence, you could get 11 languages. And I was like, those are 11 language points.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so that, third is like, I'm fluent, but people are going to know that I'm not an elf.
Right.
But 4 is like, I speak with an elvish dialect that other elves would be surprised that I was not an actual elf. So where you might not speak as many languages as, say, a wizard with an 18 intelligence is going to speak 12 languages. I was like, I'm gonna come change that. So likewise, the Bard class, which allows you to be fluent in 3 musical instruments at first level, and 4 if you take entertainer background. And I'm like, I call BS on that.
Shenanigans. He's calling shenanigans.
I have been hacking my way at guitar for 25 years.
Yeah.
I still suck. Okay, so but so I feel there are levels that we can take with these, which will, again, I'm not trying to make the game hard on players, but I'm trying to make it more interesting because, and again, like I'm one of the fail forward kind of games, where it's like, you try to fail forward. You don't
lean into the failure because they're more fun sometimes.
Well, Paula, you're absolutely right. A missaid language in Dwarven, it could lead to something hilariously happening in the town, and it could be so much fun. I think it's great. I think it's so cool.
Yeah. So with that, I guess with that in mind, this is where I'm taking my cues here. So like, you have an acrobatics skill.
How many points in English do you have?
Yes. Well, I can't spell restaurant in any language now because restaurant is restaurant in many, many languages, but they all spell them differently.
Yeah. Oh God.
So like,
I just quit spelling it, right?
I have no idea. Ristorante, restaurant, restaurant, français, like I can't, but one uses an I, one uses a U. I can't spell it in any language. So don't spell anything now. I'm lost. So but so
don't worry, your phone will get that for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Could you imagine just doing a whole show where you're just talking through your phone and like letting it translate for you?
So I'm very excited about your bard subclasses. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I'm writing it. It's based on Muncaster. It's based on like basically it's like here's a scenario where they all go to the Jester competition, but it's expanded. In the D&D world, it's going to be expanded. So you don't have to be a bard, but you can be like there'll be archery tournaments and jousting tournaments. So every class can actually partake in this festival.
Yeah.
So the scenario is the festival, but then I've got all these bard subclasses that'll go in there.
That's a great idea too. Yeah, a whole festival scenario instead of an adventure. Yeah, I like that.
I just love it because, I mean, especially with 5e, where I feel like everything's so watered down, that the bard, like, and with so many new players who haven't been exposed to the different ways that you could play a bard, everybody's just singing. Or playing a version of Scanlan. And so it's like, there's so much you could do with it. Like you could, use your body movement and be like a dancing bard or like a chef bard, or I don't know, like there's so many things. Right. It's all about performance.
Yeah. Eberron has a storytelling bard.
Yeah. So I am really excited about that as well.
It's all about that. And then also, and we're doing, so basically, you can go to the festival. And the idea is that probably if you do it as a one shot, everybody makes a bard, but you can specialize in different little things. But then there's also the bard off, so you can do a show against each other.
Yeah.
There's also like the hall of heckling, where it's like a comic stand-up comedy, but the audience is full of bards, and so they're all gonna like heckle you and try to you can take the stage from the other person. It's a whole big thing. And then of course, if you go find Tom Fool's crypt, then you can possibly ask him for some help, and he might send you on some extra quests.
Wow.
That some of them are completely fanciful, that I've made up. Some of them are actually like little bits of history from the local area that are turned into D&D adventures. So you'll just have to read it and find out which one's which. So
cool.
Very cool. Very, 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 very cool.
Hey there, folks. We're going to take a quick break from our tabletop talk show. stick around because we've got some amazing treats in store for you. The break is also a great time to show your support. Like and subscribe. It means the world to us. So hang tight and stay with us because we'll be back before you know it to continue our topic of discussion.
All right, this is the moment, boys. We're going to decide whose seal gets launched today. Angel, proceed.
I present to you the seal. It's cute, it's cuddly, it flips, it flops. It's just an all-around good time boy. You just want to give them little scratches and they just fly around, fluting and tooting. It can rip, it also dips into the water, flipping around. They're fun, I love them, you're gonna love them. Kids love them. They're trainable. Look at that cute little tootsies on them. And yeah, and you know what we say to dogs of the sea? Dog, yeah.
An amazing pitch, Angel. Peter.
Let me break this down for you. The ocean isn't scary enough. War, every day. Sharks are out there unopposed. And sure, orcas are kind of cute, but we need something fucking up the sharks. What if we made like a sea beast with like a rabid dog and a snake and a hog and another hog?
2 hogs.
And it's out there hunting the sharks every single day. War, sleep, war, sleep, war, sleep, war, sleep, war, sleep.
All right, I've got it. I've made up my mind. Seals will be cute.
Yes.
But
Shit.
they will be hunted mercilessly by sharks or tooth tubes or whatever we're going to call them.
Yes.
But
Shit.
they will never, ever fight back.
My poor fellas.
I win, both of you lose. God does it again. Launch it.
I just don't like your vibe.
Why?
I mean, look at you.
We're literally dressed exactly the same.
No.
Why are you always making me climb in the smallest of places?
Well, Jared, this is the best way to get to the podcast that we need to steal this week.
It's always
like we do every week on Mondays.
Mondays, every Monday.
Yeah, religiously.
Sometimes I wish we could just walk through the door, but yeah. Every Monday on where do they find it?
On Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find podcasts. That's where we are.
I get so hot in these vents. I think they have the heater on.
Oh, Jeremy, don't move. Oh, wait. Michael and Jeremy steal your podcast every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts and stuff.
We're going to take your podcast and we're going to do it
better,
faster,
stronger,
hornier.
Yes.
In an hour.
Or more. Sometimes.
Oh, look! It's this guy. Ah, yeah. I have no idea who that is. You know, the one that does all the monologues. Oh, yeah! Jerry. Look at him. He is itching to start talking. I bet he's going to say something like, "It's too late. The ritual is complete." Yeah, like, "My reign is inevitable. All shall worship me and despair. I'm gonna kill every orphan and then suck out the marrow from their femur bones." That's a little far, don't you think? Sorry, I got a little caught up in the moment. Well, come on. Aren't you gonna monologue at us? Yeah, use those words, Magic Man.
No.
I think I left my hamster in the oven.
Ha! Got you! Who's number one? I'm number one. You thought you were the strongest, but who's laughing now? It's me! You, laugh at her.
I've been waiting for this for a long time now. Yes, Bartholomew Beelzebub Ezekiel Grubb, this is the best day of your life.
Now what? You know any jokes? Oh, I know one. Why does an adventuring party always keep a necromancer around? 'Cause they're the life of the party. Oh, you're no fun. You know, if Avandra was still here, she'd be laughing hysterically. If she was still here. Do you think that was too easy? I mean, she was alive and then she was dead. Didn't really give her a chance to fight back. Doesn't feel earned. I thought I'd feel different after defeating my nemesis after all this time. Been waiting so long and now it's just a bit anticlimactic. What if we gave her another chance? I mean, killed her again, but fair and square. Maybe then I'd feel better. What? I'm just trying to give her the best opportunity to defend herself, so that it feels like I've really won. Oh, don't give me that. It's not like I miss her or anything. Okay, fine! So what if I do? But if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. Again. Like, undead you, unundead, unanimate, unalive. You know what I mean! No, I really feel like I've... what's the word? Grown? That's the one.
I must have blacked out or something.
Oh no! You survived my ultimate attack! Oh, you were so much stronger than I thought!
I am? Of course I am.
Oh, well, please don't hurt me.
Right. My turn.
Oh, mommy! Yes, harder. Ooh, oh, oh.
Thank God you're alive.
Yes, harder, mommy.
Oh, you know what he would say right now? He'd be like, please like and subscribe to the channel. He'd also be like, oh, subscribe to our Patreon. We need money.
Hit that bell icon.
Yeah, what do you say now? What about that? He'd be like, oh, I don't get paid enough for this. I'm a real actor. Yeah, let's go. What a loser.
Hey, what up with it, man? I'm Tyrell Lincoln. I'm the #1 up-and-coming square dance DJ in the nation. I was hoping I could come up there and try my skills with you.
This is the spot. I've never seen a DJ here.
You guys don't have DJs, man?
No.
All right, you have a good one. Thank you.
Good luck out there, man.
What up with it, man? I'm Tyrell Lincoln. I'm the #1 up-and-coming square dance DJ in the nation. I was hoping to come up there and try my skills with you, but he told me that you guys don't have a DJ, and he told me, good luck out there and whatnot. Now, it didn't sit right with me, you heard? So I wanted to call back up here and offer my services for free. And, you know, I was hoping to spit a little bit of flavor in your ear so you know what you get.
To be honest with you, man, we haven't had a DJ since I've worked here, and I don't think that owners are planning on it. Like, so it's more because we're more of a restaurant. You know what I mean? So realistically, it's kind of like we shut down at 10 and stuff like that. It's never been a conversation.
Okay, man. Well, let me. I'm still gonna, you know, spit a little bit of flavor in your ear, so hopefully you can, you know, pass it along to him that, hey, this guy's really dope. You know what I'm saying? Put a little bit of fantasy in it. I try to mix my own stuff. And while you might not, you know, book me now or maybe ever, hopefully you can. It's you know, it's like grab that dragon, do-si-do. Watch out for the fireballs, though. Swing your partner, know what I mean? Watch out for the goddamn winks. You know what I'm saying? It's just little shit like that I put over a beat, and I get it handled. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean, man. But like I said, unfortunately here we're more of a restaurant, and like we really just don't have any need for a DJ. But it's like, you know, you would need space to work and people to dance and stuff like that. And we just got a lot of table space. You know what I mean?
Okay, well I appreciate it, homie.
Absolutely, man. You have a good one.
Oh man, do you have to defend your title like in the following year?
No. So the nice thing is that once you're a fool, you are always a fool.
Okay.
And you do all of the official duties for the whole year, and then the next year you actually MC the competition.
Oh, okay.
So it's like Miss America. You know,
Yeah.
once you're Miss America, you're always a Miss America.
Got it.
They actually have a tree, and this is so crazy. There's a chestnut tree. It is over 500 years old. It is the tree that Tom Fool used to sit under and tell people to go take a walk in the
right.
And so this tree is huge. It's gorgeous. They take nuts from that tree and plant more trees. So there is a Jester tree for each of the winners.
Whoa!
There's a
So you're
row.
gonna have your own tree.
Yes. So there's a row of trees.
That's really cool too.
Apparently that's my retirement plan.
Is to have a tree.
A tree.
You're gonna
I'm just
sit
gonna
there
sit
and
in
tell
a tree
people
and
to
tell
walk
people
through
to go.
swamps. That's so cool.
So yeah, I think that's honestly like that is kind of what I feel is like the coolest part of this legacy is that like there's actually going to be a tree with my name on it. Like, and again, Tom Fool's tree is over 500 years old.
Yeah.
So
wow.
in the year 25.
Yeah. You'll have an old tree.
I was some weird American guy. So, you know, how about that? You know, because they have the whole list of jesters and they have, you know, so yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Is there a place for jesters in Dungeons and Dragons 5e? Yes.
Yes.
Subclass.
Just maybe have to tweak it up a bit.
Absolutely. Yes. Because yeah, it's all about musical instruments. You're like,
there's more
magical musical instruments. You're just like,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And then, and it's not just about, because you do a lot of other things, don't you?
Yeah, I'd like to hear about this.
All right. Amber, you set up this list. So do you have any you'd like to ask about first?
Well, let's see here. I see here that you do juggling, knife throwing, fire eating, unicycling, comedy, and then MC. Just to name a few of the accolades. I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of story in juggling unless you want to tell me about it, but I am very curious about knife throwing. How do you?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm trying to imagine, how do you practice knife throwing? And are there like accidental? Oops! I need to take you to the hospital. Like, how does that work?
That's hilarious. The knife throwing show that I used to do is called Oops Comedy Knife Throwing Show. So. It's so knife throwing again, all right, and not to be like a you know, like it's like there's a certain enjoyment of having people who have knowledge about like certain instruments and things or tools and go, yeah, you know, that kind of sword isn't the, you know, whatever. Sometimes it gets a little bit too pedant, but it's like, you know, I play D&D with some of the jousters from the Renaissance Fair, and so when you go, I'm riding my horse and I'm gonna lean down and pick up the thing at full speed, and then I'm gonna put and they'll go, hey, what armor are you wearing?
That's not gonna fly, buddy.
I'm gonna tell you right now that without magic, that is physically impossible because I've tried to do it and it doesn't work. So sometimes that works, but so I'm starting all of that to say there's a big difference between a knife that is meant to be thrown and then say a dagger that is not really meant to be thrown at all.
Okay.
And so there are special knives that are meant to be thrown, that are balanced, weighted. They're great, and they're terrible to use for stabbing something. They're
really?
horrible. Oh yeah.
Why is that?
They're not balanced. They're not weighted, and the blades are either like hardened steel in the wrong way to not be a good stabby stab.
Okay.
They're meant to be thrown and then take that shock, as opposed to like trying to actually like use it as a dagger.
Okay. So it kind of, to me, I'm interpreting this as like spoons and forks are utensils, but spoon will get your soup. Fork won't, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And you can try to throw a dagger at somebody, but it won't spin the same way that a throwing knife will. You'll still hit somebody. Nobody likes being hit by a piece of metal.
Right.
Right.
You may not stab them with the knife, but you will hit,
So right, I was gonna say, so when you are trying to learn this skill, do you have to just like convince someone to like, you'll be fine, I'm just learning?
Start off with not having anyone there.
Okay.
You can usually what you do is you'll start off with targets. So you're aiming for a specific spot, right?
Got it.
And so then you just literally
so the person you're going to throw at knows you know how to hit a target.
Right.
Okay.
So then when you put somebody up there, you're not aiming for the person, you're aiming
right
for
the target.
The spot here and this spot
Yeah.
here, and the spots over here. But first, remove the person. Then
so how about fire eating? When
Yes.
did you pick up fire eating? Like
I think back in college. So yeah, I was like 19 years old, and now I went to college so long ago that there was no Googly, and there was no learning everything on YouTube.
Yeah.
We had a book about fire eating from like the 1800s, which by
Wow.
the way was not entirely correct.
It needed some updating.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Where'd you get this book from?
My friend had it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had, jugglers, and this is this is why I love the idea of like the bard colleges too, because jugglers are a weird kind of group of like, I'm gonna try to do this crazy thing. I'm gonna balance a stick on my head with a ball on the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely useless skill until that day when balancing a
need it.
ball on that, on a stick on your chin somehow becomes very important.
Yeah.
So it's like this is a group of people who are like, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna jump on a pogo stick and do 6 hula hoops while juggling 5 balls. Like,
but now you insinuated that your friends and you guys were already like
doing some
traveling performers at 19. That's
well, we were learning the skill. I have to say, back then I probably spent almost 40 hours a week juggling, and just like it was my job. Like it was my job
doing it.
I almost want to take this back a little further. Like at what point? Okay, so you're already I'm not going to say like a nerdy kid, but you've got your brother or whoever who was into D&D. You get pulled into D&D. At what point are you like, I want to learn how to juggle? I want to add on to that. At what point do you, like, kids always say like, I'm going to run away, I want to join a circus, but you really did like, oh, don't join the circus. Like, how did this all come about?
It's a really great and very strange story. So you probably won't believe this. My uncle was the boss clown from Burnham Bailey Circus.
What?
Yeah, back in the 80s.
Really?
And so I'll just say that I was only 10 when he was out there, right? I wasn't even 10 actually. So it was like mid 80s. And he was traveling the world. So not only Burnham Bailey had blue and a red unit, and then when they took the best of the best, they formed the gold unit, and that unit would go and do like world traveling. They go to Japan, they do all these things.
Wow.
So he was the boss clown of the gold unit, so like when
Cool.
he was pretty good. And so at a very young age, I knew that this could be a job. Like you're like, wait, he's traveling all over the world. He's going to Japan.
Right.
Like, I want to go to Japan. That sounds so cool. And that you could do this as a job. I didn't quite understand the nuances. But then at about 12, I started to learn to juggle. And I learned to juggle, weirdly, not from my uncle who was traveling the world, but from my older brother's buddy who could juggle.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, and being 12, I said, I can do that. And then they went, prove it. And then I couldn't. And then I ran to my room and I taught myself to juggle. And it took me a week.
But you did it.
But I was 12 and determined. So
right.
And I came out of my room a week later and went, see, I can do it just like I said. But, yeah, I was a jerk. Anyway, so but yeah, so then you start to juggle and then you kind of you start to do more and you start to do more juggling. You start to I'll do 4, now I'll do 5, now I want to do clubs, now I do ring. And then I got all those. Okay, I want to do torches. I'll do knives, start going to the danger stuff. So somewhere between there and there, we made our torches. Okay, you're gonna love this.
Uh-oh.
So we reading this book from the late 1800s about how to magic fire. We have this tome. Listen, this is a magical tome, people. This is for real, right? No Google search is gonna get you this. And we're like, yeah, so we're following the instructions, what we think are the instructions, right? So we're like, okay, we make these torches, fire eating torches, and I'll just say, kids, don't do this.
Yeah, thank you. Caveat.
Have somebody trained who understands what they're doing. Don't make your own torches. You're gonna anyway, because this is the story. So me and my 2 friends, Clinton and Elmer, his real name Elmer. And we're gonna do it. Okay, who's gonna go first?
Crickets.
So I think we drew straws, and Elmer drew the short straw. So he takes the torch, lights it, like
I'm gonna do it.
and he's holding it over his head, which is the proper technique, right? Straight up, the fire goes up. Up, heat rises.
Right.
Okay.
And he's bringing it closer and closer to his mouth. The human body, for the most part, or actually the brain, has a thing that stops you from being self-destructive most of the time. And you actually have to train your body to actually put fire in your mouth because it just stops you. It literally will block you from doing self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and we're like, we're looking, we're there, and he's there, and he's like, I can't, and he's got his mouth open, and then the enther wick of that torch slid off the metal rod because we did not make our torches properly, people. Okay, because we got our book from the 1800s. That this is how you do it. That wick, flaming ball of fire, slid right into his mouth.
Oh my god.
His eyes got this big. And fortunately, he did not panic. He closed his mouth, which put out the fire.
Right.
Okay.
He never ate fire again.
Oh, he didn't. I was gonna say, did you guys have any precautions? Like, did you have a bucket of water?
Yeah,
but
we had well, we realized that we had a fire extinguisher, but I'm like,
in your mouth.
Am I gonna just jam it in there and hope that worked? I don't know.
Oh my god.
So yeah.
So wait, that's how you started fire eating, but it says you do it in your shows. So somewhere you made it.
Yeah. So somewhere between that and that, we didn't learn our lessons. Myself and my other friend Clinton, we were undogged and we're
gonna do this.
You used up the rest of your homemade torches?
Yes. So we were like, we should use a threaded rod so that the thread holds better. So we went back to the drawing board, remade torches.
Mythbusters. They were Mythbusters.
Yeah. Wow.
We used one with the non-slidey wick option. And then we slowly taught ourselves to eat fire under our own, we got a water blanket and just in case, but
yeah.
Now, so you were doing Diablo at the last show.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you done Diablo for a while?
Oh
Wait,
yeah.
what's Diablo?
So it's Diabolo.
Yeah, I was saying it wrong.
Okay,
I was saying it wrong.
Diablo is, of course.
Yes. That's why I was like, wait,
sorry.
isn't that a game? Okay.
Yes.
But so it's Diabolo. So weirdly, so it is a giant. It looks like a big giant yo-yo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Diabolo. Weirdly, okay, it is invented in China 5,000 years ago. That's the earliest record we have of it. However, diabolo is actually a Greek word, and it kind of means to throw in a arc, right? And so I have this whole. Sometimes I have this thing. I don't. It's like I don't know what I've said in my show that you heard that I
It doesn't matter. No one here heard.
Change the
I'm
jokes
good.
up, but I do a whole big thing about like I have no idea how the Greeks managed to put their word on a 5,000-year-old Chinese toy.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, like maybe in China, this guy's like, ooh, I just made this like 5,000 years ago, right? He's like,
yeah,
I just made this. What do you want to call it? I don't know. What do you want to call it? And then there's some Greek guy standing there going, you could always call it a diabolo. And like they look at him going, what are you doing in China? It's 3000 BC. And he goes, why are we speaking English?
It's amazing.
So it's, but yeah, so weirdly Chinese.
It's a big yo-yo on like a string, and you have sticks and you kind of manipulate it on the string.
Yeah.
And you get it spinning, and then you can like launch it in the air and it goes woo, up
wow. Okay.
And I had never seen one before until I visited Barcelona. I had never ever seen before. And that's why I was very impressed when I saw you. I was like, oh my God, all of America has no idea what he's doing right here.
Reminds me of this story. So I'm in Germany at a tiny medieval festival. I'm doing my show in German. This is one of the like first few times, right? And so I don't know if I have my German right or not. If you know German, it's got 3 thes, right? There's die, der, das, right? So there's the masculine the feminine the, and the neuter the, right? So I had learned, and I had asked some German performers, I said, is it der Diablo? What did you guys call it, a Diablo? And they're like, yeah, it's der Diablo. Okay, great. So I'm doing my show. Ich habe der Diablo, blah, 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 blah. And this guy in the audience goes, Entschuldigung, mein Herr, später ein Minuten, it's die Diablo. So he's correcting my German to say it's the feminine, and I was like, oh, well, okay, I'm sorry. Shoot. And, so ich habe die Diablo, blah, blah. This guy on the other side of the audience goes, yeah, actually, you were right the first time. It is der Diablo.
Somehow they become part of your show.
and I was like, oh, okay. All right. These two guys get into an argument. And because they know that my German is bad, they have their argument in English.
So you can partake.
Basically just for me, so that I get German audience. Of course, most Germans actually speak English pretty good. So, but they literally had their argument in German. The guy's like, yeah, okay, actually, I teach German to Germans, and we happen to know that this is dead. And the other guy goes, the other guy pulls the ace card, and he goes, I am actually on the committee that brings foreign words into the German language. And we vote on which one it's gonna be. It is Diablo. And the whole audience like, ooh.
Are you still performing while this is going on?
I'm just standing there with like the sticks, and I'm like, and I was like, okay, guys, hey, if you guys don't know what it is, how am I ever gonna learn how to? Can we I'm just gonna skip this. And I think I just put it down. We just moved on to something else. So,
that's
but
fantastic.
Then that got the audience back into the thing, because it was just like, we're gonna have an international incident here.
Oh man.
So Paolo's show is great. It's just hilarious. Go ahead, Amber.
Well, I just wanted to ask, because I'm still trying to imagine like young you trying to juggle and fire, and to now. Did you ever do your time like working at McDonald's, or did you just go straight into like you've always done this?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at Wendy's.
Okay.
Arby's. I even waited tables at Olive Garden.
Okay.
But I have to say, like, I was hilariously, I was just getting out of college, and we had promoted ourselves to a bunch of different theme parks. And so I had a juggling partner. And so we started doing theme parks pretty much right out of college. And then I had a friend of mine who was not even kidding. I was 25, and they were like, so you play D&D all the time, and you're a comedy juggler. Why aren't you working at the Renaissance Fair? And I was like, what's a Renaissance Fair?
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
So they actually took me to the Maryland Fair, which is the first Renaissance fair I ever went to. Maryland is a fantastic, beautiful fair. The buildings are gorgeous. The whole place is amazing. And I was like, oh,
wow.
Why? How did I not know about it? Like,
yeah.
I had already, I performed at the Kennedy Center. I'd performed I'd already done these amazing festivals, amazing things. And I'm like, how did I not ever know that Ren fairs existed? Like, how come none of my D&D friends mentioned this at all?
Right.
And they were just like, what are you wasting your time doing all these other things? Why aren't you at the Ren fair? So
wow.
I found the Ren fair.
Eye opener.
I just dug right in because I was like, oh yeah, this is the kind of like comedy. There's a lot of different styles. Again, this is why I'm working on these bard characters, because there's even different styles of juggling entertainment, because you can do, like, we call it the Vegas show, Cirque du Soleil show, where you, and even Cirque du Soleil is a little bit different as well, but it's like you play the music and you just blast out a bunch of tricks, like a mind-boggling 6-minute routine, and you're just right. Yeah. Or there's the more vaudevillian, which is the like, I'm going to talk to the audience and I'm going to do some tricks. And,
draw them into a story.
Yeah. And it's, some of them will be very good tricks, but at the same time, you're more relying on your performance of talking rather than the performance of just like sheer juggle skill.
Yeah.
So fortunately, as a juggler, you have that option, unlike, say, like a trapeze artist who can't really talk to the crowd. Yeah. Like, hey guys,
and I'm spinning
for my next trick. Hey, let me tell you about the time that I was in.
Now I know you have a lot of audience participation with your show. Have you seen that dynamic change? Like, you just talk about the two German guys that just start having an argument. Mm-hmm. Has it turned? Especially after the big Will Smith slap, and comedians are talking about it's not so easy to do things. People are like responding differently. Have you seen anything like that?
Well, I fortunately, because I have a PG rated show for the most part. I can do risque stuff. I do some burlesque shows. I do vaudeville, comedy, cabaret stuff. But for the most part, Renaissance fairs, they have to be kind of PG. So so I stay in that zone. I don't drop F-bombs.
Right.
But I mean, you saw the show. There's some hints of political intrigue.
Right.
We go into voting, and because they're voting for which apple or which object I should juggle,
should eat, and then
and it's so I don't know. I like to think that mine is a little bit more risque in that regard. Whereas, like, I have had fairs go, you can't say the orange is a horrible thing and should be destroyed, because they think you're talking about the president. And I go, oh, I was. Maybe I should, but no, I was talking about this orange.
This orange. Yeah. Okay.
So like, I usually tend to go in that direction and not so much in the like. I just don't do like.
And then I'm gonna say, everyone there is in good spirits. No one's really against you.
Right.
Everyone's in the right frame of mind, except some of the drunks, maybe.
The big thing that I have noticed, and kind of getting back to D&D, is that 20 years ago, when I first started doing Ren Fair, I could throw down a Dungeons and Dragons joke, and most of the people at the Ren Fair would get it, because the group of people that go to the fair, like 33% of that audience was a solid D&D group.
Right.
And I could throw in a D&D joke and then kill. Now, you remember 20 years ago, the before time, I was there, Gandalf. I was there 3,000 years ago. World of Warcraft, EverQuest, these online role-playing games that are just foundational right now. And everyone started playing those games, and they started getting away from Dungeons and Dragons. And I have a very controversial opinion about 4th edition, but we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
So everyone started playing World of Warcraft, and I'd throw out a D&D joke, nobody laughed. Throw out a World of Warcraft joke, people get it. So the audience was changing, not just they weren't playing D&D. They were not playing D&D. They were still into the fantasy. They were still into the games. They were not playing D&D. And now
the jokes come back.
It has obviously, like, Critical Role. All the people who are now openly admitting, all those people openly admitting, Vin Diesel.
Right.
All these people, sure, of course, of course I play D&D. Of course. And of course it just has skyrocketed. So now I was like, wait a minute, I bet I can throw a D&D joke in there and people will get it. And it was like, oh, it's on fire now. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Because those are my people. So,
right.
But so I don't know if you'd like to hear my very controversial opinion about 4th edition.
Please.
No, go ahead. It's called the game for a reason. They're on. Go ahead. Let's hear it. And I have to say, Russell really wanted to be with us.
Sorry.
So he has he's always has his, what is it called? Russell's
unsolicited opinion.
So
Thank you. I was going to say, this reminds me of.
You can be Russell's unsolicited opinion tonight.
You might lose a lot of people right here on this, but Like, we were like, nope. So as someone who like literally I stayed out of the whole argument the whole time because I didn't change. I would play if I was going to play with somebody else's game. Sure, I'd play whatever edition they're playing. But if it was like, we're just going to play my game.
Yeah.
I still just have the same book. So because of the change in the gaming world, right? 3.5, right? A great edition, right? But all these people are playing video games and that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
And so 4th edition was the literal, like, it was the...
Yeah. It's like a video game.
We're going to get the gamers who play online games and video games to come down and sit down and basically play a video game at the table. And that's what 4th edition is.
Yeah.
It's literally the gateway drug. And it's like, hey everyone, you can have the same experience, but the difference is the NPCs have more than 4 different lines.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go way off road. And people are like, and I feel like that 4th edition was the thing that pulled people back in who weren't going to play D&D. Absolutely.
Yeah, that feels very different than my experience because 4th edition pushed everyone I knew away.
Because they were gamers from the before times.
Right.
That makes sense now. Okay, I see your logic.
Every gamer hated 4th edition because it wasn't. It wasn't. It was everything that they didn't want. There's no way you could get me to play 4th edition.
Right.
Yeah, I missed all of that. I missed
I bypassed
4th completely. I missed it.
But because I read it through it and I was like, this is almost war game. This is almost a war game, like back, and it was like, but I didn't understand that. Of course, I was in the hater club as well. And when 5th edition came out, it was like, you said, hey everyone, come sit down at this table. Let me show this game. And then as people went, you can have like a weird, crazy interaction with the shopkeeper. Huh, that's fun. Hey, this is kind of cool. Oh, you think that's cool, eh? Let me show you what Dungeons and Dragons is really about. And then they got slapped down 5th edition. And then everyone was like, oh, okay, cool. And so that was the compromise between 3.5 and all the other editions and 4th edition. Is to say, we want to keep all these people here because everybody's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And now we want to kind of bring it back around. Which maybe it hasn't come all the way. The rules haven't caught up with the old timer gamers who are just like, meh,
Yeah.
And the new game.
Well, I think the other thing they did with 5e, because you're an old time gamer, you would sit there with your microscope and your pencil and try to fit everything on your character sheet in the little boxes that they had for the little sections. Man, they made that a dynamic template. I mean, hey, that was really the buy-in for me playing 5th edition. It's like, look, everything's right here. I don't got to record anything anymore. Oh, it's doing all my bonuses.
Right.
Yeah.
This is great.
So that's my controversial take on the the long game that is like 4th edition, because
I think it's a good take on 4. I never thought of it that way. I think
here.
It's very good.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that we would have this. We wouldn't have this renaissance, literally a renaissance of gaming, if it wasn't for 4th. And I know, like, people are gonna like throw things at the screen.
I know that when you say it that way, then it's almost like a, ooh, do I want to agree with it? But I kind of have to. I mean, it makes some sense if you are wanting to give, who owned it at the time. Wizards of the Coast owned it at the time, right? 4th. So if you want to give them the credit of thinking that far in advance, then I can agree with that.
It might not have been the original plan, but it definitely was like, how can we sell this to people who are gonna play video game?
Yeah.
And want the, obviously the speed of a video game, like hands down.
Yeah.
You can't get faster combat, than a video game.
Right.
Clearly. So, try to make it. Yeah. So that's it.
I like it though. That was I really liked having that discussion. That's probably the best discussion I've had about 4th edition.
About 4, me too.
Most interesting.
So thank you for bringing it, Paula.
Yeah.
Bringing it to us.
So I wanted to ask more about the D&D in a castle. Because we kind of like, whoop, and then I want to,
I know,
right? We're all over the place, but that's fine. This is our norm anyway. So what do you do there? And how did you get into that? Are you running games in a castle?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yes. So the first one we did it at Muncaster Castle, and
and that's where you did that's where
Jester
you did the Tom
competition.
Pool. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, because I have a relationship with these guys, and I was like, hey, how would you like me to bring 18? Actually, it's 18 guests plus the dungeon masters and a couple other people kind of running things. It's like, hey, we got 26 people. How would you like us to rent your place on a weekday?
Mhm.
Because most of these, and again, it's like, if you look at D&D and Castle, those guys, they also do it like it's that weekday thing. So the rates are lower.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we're not trying to do it on a Saturday. So how this all started, I was like, hey guys, I can bring this thing. We can play Dungeons and Dragons in your castle. We're literally like, they have like some very expensive antique all over the castle. And I was like, you cannot ask for a group of people that would be more respectful and less dangerous to any of your antiques lying around.
Right.
A bunch of people who are going to sit down at a table for 6 hours.
Right.
And it's like, that's all they're gonna do? Like, yeah, pretty much. Go to the bathroom, have a get a drink.
Do they stay in, like, are there rooms in the castle, or do you guys get your own accommodations?
So at Muncaster, there's a big so that it used to be the horseman's quarter. So it was like where the horses stay and the horsemen themselves stayed. So it's like right out, there's the main castle proper, and then there's the whole big the horse area. So like they've done, of course they did a fantastic job like redoing all those places. So yeah, modern modern accoutrement, and then you have the castle. So
you're staying right there on property during the week.
Yes, and you actually have access to the grounds. It's like 80 acres of garden.
Whoa.
So we have access to it, and there's a chapel with a graveyard.
I love graveyards.
So we get to go at midnight, and so the whole idea, of course, because I give tours, regular 10-day tours, things like that. So I was like, what we do is we will go out on an outing, and then we come back and play D&D, and of course, wherever we went that day is
the setting for the D&D.
If we visit the graveyard, assume that the boss fight that night might possibly be in the
graveyard,
and it's gonna be maybe I don't know, very similar to the one we just saw.
Yeah.
So we do. We also
that's fabulous. We were just talking about horror and suspense. Actual be in that graveyard and then actually play that.
Yeah.
The area is just
I took
fabulous.
my players to the graveyard. It was like we ended our game in like 11:40, and I was like, it's almost midnight and the moon is big. Let's go. And so we ran out and we go to the showing them around some of the places. There's some really amazing really really old tombstones, and then some really like devastating, like, because they'll put the whole story about how someone like somebody's gun went off, and like just a tragedy, oh my gosh. And you're just like, what? It's like, and it's from 1680. You're like, holy crap.
Wow.
And so then we go out there, and then this black cat, like the moon is full, the shining on the gravestones, and this black cat like hops up on. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
couldn't have planned it better.
Yeah, it's like, do you know how much money I had to pay that cat to get out there right at midnight? We planned the whole thing. And so basically what we do is we do an excursion, we go somewhere really cool, and then we come back. And then of course there's stuff at the castle too, but like we went to Levin's Hall, which is, and we'll go there again this time as well. So Levin's Hall was the place that Lewis Carroll was inspired to write Through the Looking Glass.
Wow.
And by inspired, I mean all of the topiary gardens and the weird crazy shapes with the trees and all the hedge mazes. All of that stuff is real. It all exists, and it's at Levin's Hall.
I have to go there.
I was just gonna say, I think Amber is like gonna book very soon.
My wedding was an Alice in Wonderland wedding, and not Disney Lewis Carroll. So it was a very much this is the real deal. And really, and so like the gardens are amazing, they're huge. There's a croquet lawn. Wow.
The cards, so the suit of the cards are in the building, like they're carved into the stone. They're on the works of the hearts and spades and club are all part of the castle. Like he literally was there, and he literally was like, why don't I'm just gonna yoink this and put it in my book. So any of you dungeon masters out there who are worried that you might, I based this whole dungeon off of this thing that I read. Trust me, everybody does it. So don't feel bad. You're in the same level as Lewis Carroll. So there's one of the excursions that we're doing. We're going to go to a 15th century mill that is still functional, and it's amazing. Okay, sometimes I say that, and some people are like, kind of like, that doesn't sound that exciting. it's really
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting
When you
in
put
there-
things in context, then people go, whoa,
yeah,
with
and
the
you
water
see
running and all the mechanisms working inside the
giant
building and the
stone
gears
wheel spinning at a ridiculous speed.
Yes.
I didn't realize they spun that fast.
Yeah.
The thing is hauling. and the grounds are gorgeous as well. So we're gonna do possibly like a little escape room kind of thing there. And then
wow.
we'll go out there, we'll do that, and then we'll come back. So that also, of course, at the castle, they have an entire owl sanctuary. So they have all these birds. They have birds of prey. They have hawks and falcons.
Now he's got me too. Now
I know. We need a trip. Let's do a Dungeon Studios trip.
And we'll do some archery as well. So this year, so we timed it differently. So this year they're actually doing a medieval festival at the castle
at the same time.
Yeah. So they're doing the medieval festival, and then I'm actually going to be performing. It's 9 days straight.
Wow.
And then I'll be performing that weekend, and then we start the D&D tour on Sunday night.
Got it.
So if you're gonna sign up for the tour, I advise just showing up a couple days early.
Yeah.
Get over your jet lag, hang out at the medieval festival, and then boom, we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have there's feast, there's we're gonna have Lord Muncaster, Lady Muncaster show up, and we haven't quite worked it out exactly like what's exactly gonna happen, but I am dying to have them go, hello, I'm the Lord of this castle, and I was wondering if there's any adventurers around here, might give me a hand. I have a quest, like actual, actually that's the guy who owns castle. And then and they are awesome. They are fully supportive, and they're kind of just like, whatever you need to make this work, let's do it. So they have staff that's gonna maybe dress up and do some stuff. And there's a maze there. It's gonna be pretty crazy. And there'll be a giant feast at the end in their main dining room, it's gonna be awesome. They're gonna bring out all of the like actual like antique like china and stuff like that. It's gonna be.
Now I gotta ask you: do you gonna post some of this stuff on your Facebook?
Oh yeah, you bet I will.
All right, cool.
Can I ask? Is there like how much would?
So now we don't cover flights because flights are kind of like flights have been crazy actually, and honestly, flights are cheaper than they normally have been.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So now's a good time, honestly. So it's all inclusive. Now we do all of the we would fly into Manchester, which is the closest. It's like 2 hours away, and we would pick you up there. Unless, of course, you want to show up early, then you get there yourself. We all speak English there, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So now there's a couple different room types. So there is a group room that's like the adventure. We call it the Rogues Gallery. It's a 6-bed bunk room. That's the cheapest one. Because of course you're sharing a space with a lot of people.
Right.
So and then that is only $3,200. And then you've got the solo room by yourself. If you want your own room to yourself, that's $37. And that's all the food and everything, all the travel in between, all that stuff.
for the whole week.
All
and
inclusive.
it's a week, right? So it's 5 days, like Monday or Sunday through.
It goes Monday to Friday. So, Sunday to Friday.
Right.
So it's actually it's a day longer than the D&D and Castle guys, and it's about the same price actually. So just saying, when you know some people who own a castle, it helps.
Wow. Oh man. Okay, sorry. I'm very excited.
She's writing stuff down there. She's writing everything down.
I want to go.
You can get a 2-person room too, and there's as well. That's a little bit cheaper than the solo room, of course.
Yeah.
And then of course they do have some other rooms that we can arrange. So if you have 3 or what you got a group, you got 4 people who are great friends or whatever. So we can arrange that as well. So we can figure it out. So
wow.
It's going to be a blast. There's going to be taverns as well. There's a local tavern that we'll all go to for dinner, for a couple dinners, and then there's also the regular dinners in the castle. We're actually going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons in the oldest section of the castle. The castle is actually from the 12th century. And then the original tower and the walls were meant to withstand an attack. So the walls are literally like 7 feet thick.
Wow.
So that's the oldest section. And it's a big tower, but then they've added on to the building in the years the hundreds of years. So like the other side of the castle is actually from the 1800s, but they've matched it to look like it's all the same building.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So the tower matches. It looks like the same tower, but the walls on the 18th century part are only like this thick. This is just one block of stone.
Okay.
And so there's actually like more room on that side. Meanwhile, there's literally 7 feet thick walls.
Wow.
And but it's meant to withstand getting hit by catapults and all sorts.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous.
So awesome.
So cool.
We'll get our own private tour. You get to see the painting of Tom Fool, and get some history from the Muncasters themselves.
Now you have a lot of spaces for that left because you said New Orleans is almost gone.
Yeah, New Orleans is almost full. But yes, we actually just started. We just opened the D&D tour.
Okay.
Into Muncaster. So yeah, there's plenty of room. Get your whole party signed up. It's gonna be a good time. All of the people who did it last year, actually, there was many people from the Maryland Fair who were on our last tour, and they were like, "Oh, they're dying to do it again." So we were just like, "Is there still room?" I was like, "Yeah, there's still room for now." But yeah,
and I'll get that on the Dungeon Studios Facebook page for you too.
RemedyDungeons.com.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just sent everything out. Very, very cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna be that person and just ask because I can't eat gluten. Do they do food accommodation? Okay.
Absolutely.
I just have to know because I am seriously considering this.
Absolutely. And they take that very seriously there.
Okay.
And it's, because of course they deal with a lot of tourists, so like tourists from all over the world. And so there's a lot of gluten allergies, a lot of celiac. There's all sorts of different,
all that stuff. Okay.
So their kitchen is fantastic. I love those guys. They really work really hard. They've got vegan stuff. They've got, just vegetarian. They've got this, so they work really hard to get some of the best stuff. And it's going to be crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
yay. I can't wait to look at it.
Now you just green lighted her right there, Paolo. She's ready now.
I'm going.
She's talking to her husband.
Speaking of horror.
What do you mean?
Oh, you're going without him? You're leaving him behind?
Somebody got to take care of the kid, right? So, so there is the town of Ravenglass, which is a mile away from Muncaster. You can get there. You can either drive there, or you can like kind of wiggle your way through the fields and stuff like that. And it is absolutely the seaside town that it's adorable. But it's windswept and spooky. And it is literally, you're like, oh, this town, as soon as the tide rolls out and the fog rolls in, this place is covered with Cthulhu creatures.
It's haunted.
Absolutely. And I did some reading recently, and I discovered that there actually are some, like, the towns nearby are actually some towns that are in some of the writing.
Really?
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft.
I was like, wait a minute. He must. There's no way that he could. Then and there's only a few towns. Like, we're out in kind of the way far west of England. There's only so many towns out there, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's talking about this town.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's.
Speaking of him, and you like horror, don't miss Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix.
That's right.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out. Lovecraft's in there. Ooh.
Yeah. There's like
spooky.
2 episodes that are like Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Gosh, let me see. We talked about.
I wanted to ask a question. You're very portable, right? So what do you do for living? Like I'm actually, medically stuck in a place. So do you have like the same place you stay in Maryland when you're there, and the same place do you have your usuals?
Well,
how does that work?
I'm for Maryland. I'm fortunate because I'm based in Virginia, so I'm only a couple hours away from Maryland. But I have a little pop-up camper that I use, so I just go up there on the weekend and come back. But like,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but some of the other festivals, like the ones in Texas and Louisiana, I stay either with I've got because I've been on the road for a little while, so I've made some friends, and they're like, please come stay at our place, for the most part.
No, that's great. That's what I was thinking. If that happens, you said you have your crew and it's small, and that's nice. That's great.
That's most, either I've got the little pop-up or, it just depends on the show. So that's
the Jester, of course, has his own room in the castle, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
The Jester's apartment. Yeah.
Well, next time I go visit my son in Virginia, I'll have to look you up too.
Do you have like a secret? Do you have a secret door in your?
I can't tell you.
Doc always trying to pull out the secrets out of our guests.
I will. So there's a little spiral staircase that is only used. I can't tell you how to get there, but
There's some accessibility, some secret accessibilities for you. That's cool.
Right.
That's really
and
cool.
I remember a wacky story. So I was there, doing the things with the castle. And then I had some friends of mine who, if you're familiar with the Fringe Festival in Scotland, in Edinburgh, biggest Fringe festival. It's one of the biggest Fringe festivals in the world. And so they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the Fringe Festival." And I was like, "Why?" So I set them up with a gig at Muncaster on their way over to Edinburgh. And of course, they were like, "Well, here we have the B&B. We have these nice refurbished rooms and blah, blah, blah." They're like, "Yeah, but we want to stay in the old part of the castle that's all creepy." And the people who own castles don't understand that Americans want to be in an old castle.
Yeah.
They don't quite get it. They're like, don't you want hot water, running water, and like temperature controlled room, perhaps? Like, no, give us the creepiest place you can get. And they're like, Muncaster is a very large castle. It actually is pretty sizable. They have there's like over 100 individual rooms in it, and they don't even, it's hard to say how many rooms there are, because like, is that a closet or is it its own room? Because they call it a closet, but it's a 10 by 10 room, and you're like, yeah, well, it's, I don't know. So they're like, is it a room? I don't know. So then like my friends were like adamant about staying in the castle, in the old section. So they were like, okay, weirdos. Sure. And so they were like, well, here's this room. And so they set them up in this room, and she's like, I don't think anyone slept in this room in like 100 years. And my friends were like, that's the coolest thing you could have ever said.
Yeah, I would react the same way.
Like, meanwhile, they're like, yeah, that's the haunted nanny's room. Yeah, here's your blanket and good luck if you're alive tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be me.
I wouldn't want to be near that room. Sorry, not with my illness, not 100 years.
I'd be probably like, put on a white glove, wipe the wall, and go, this is 100-year-old.
All right. If this gets out, you might get in trouble.
Uh-oh.
So Ewan, who is the the family is the Penningtons, right? That's their last name. So Ewan, he is the guy who is currently kind of in charge of the castle. His parent, Peter and Iona, they're kind of retired. But they were the ones running the castle when I took the thing. So Ewan, I met him when he was just a teenager. And of course, he was like, "Oh man, your show was great!" And so he kind of took me all around the back of the castle, like these back rooms and stuff like that. And he goes, "You want to see something really cool?" I was like, "Of course." And so he takes me to this place. He's like, "So of course, when I say Lord Muncaster, they're not technically still lorded. They don't have the title anymore. They were like, it's a pyramid scheme towards the queen."
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to keep a lord title, and they don't really have to. So they're just like, yeah, whatever. We're going to still be we still own this castle.
Right.
Yeah.
But so the last actual Lord Muncaster fought at Waterloo, and he was an officer, of course. And they have his hat and his little, like the little epaulets from his uniform. And he's like, "You want to wear his hat?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Of course I want to wear his hat." It's just stuck in a box, like in the cabinet. The castle's so big, they just got stuff all over the place. They're like, yeah, people just leave all their stuff here, and then in 100 years it becomes an antique.
Wow.
Right. So so it's like it comes in a metal box, and it's the little bicorn hat, it's just like, and I was like, this should be in a museum, that. Yeah. My house is a museum, duh. And I was like, well, I guess we're in a museum.
While in a museum.
So I put on his hat.
Hey Doc, now might be a good time for your quick draw questions.
All right, 20 questions. We like to ask 20 questions. And if you feel like you really need to elaborate on any of them, please feel free. Okay. If you also feel like there's a question that lies outside, go for it. All right, here we go. Number one, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. Metal or funk?
No one can defeat the metal.
Yeah.
All right.
But I do like funk.
What's that?
I like
funk.
I do like funk. I mean,
okay. You can put that. You can put anything out there you want. All right. Conan or Elric?
Conan, classic.
Yeah?
Ooh, everyone's picking Conan. All right.
Yeah.
Star Trek
That was,
or Star Wars?
Oh.
That one always gets people.
Yeah, it does. It really digs deep. It digs deep.
Because that's hard.
I'd rather live in a Star Trek world, but the Star Wars movies are better.
Okay. All right. I like that answer. Okay.
Deep Space Nine, honestly, killer political commentary. Come on.
All right. Did you ever see B5?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Anyway, okay. 2d6 or 1 die 12?
Oh, 2d6.
Okay. Glass half full or glass half empty?
I'll take 2 glasses, so I have full one.
There we go.
I like that answer. That's a great answer.
Out of the box thinking.
I love it. All right. Okay. Zombies or vampires?
Oh, it's not like a preference.
I don't know. These are coming from Duck.
I'd rather fight zombies because I think they're easier because they only have one style of fighting, which is full frontal assault. Would not want to fight a vampire. However, I do believe that all bloodsuckers need to die. So, that's just my...
Okay. All right. This one's funny because of your last Facebook post. Robots or dinosaurs?
Wait, we have to explain the Facebook post first because I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay. All right. I'll explain the Facebook post. So part of Paulo's show is he sort of... I don't even know how to say it. Gets people going into this thing where
I goad them into demanding fight.
Yes, demanding fights.
Them into demanding fights.
Fights. And they could be any kind of fight. It could be a lawyer fight. It could be a lollipop fight. It could be
gravity fight.
Gravity fight, yes. Gravity fight.
The ballerina fight is the usual starter, and then it just rolls from there. So we have all kinds of fights.
And then on his last Facebook post was, oh my God, there was a time fight. And there's Paulo on stage with a guy in an inflatable dinosaur suit. So robot versus dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So wait, I missed what you picked.
Oh, he picked robots.
Oh, he picked robots.
Robo Dinosaur.
Robo Dinosaur.
I want the best of all worlds.
All right, Robo Dinosaur.
Yeah, he likes 2 glasses and he wants a Robo Dinosaur.
All right.
Here's the thing. Now there's all you've seen those memes about nobody ever asks me about what your favorite dinosaur is. That they're like he's so adult. No one ever asks you. But the more important question, no one ever asked what dinosaurs would make the best presidential candidate party, like president and vice president. And that's you gotta really dig deep for that one, because then you're like, well, you want all dinosaurs to be represented, and then are iguanodons actual dinosaurs, or are they like they're just lizard
right
meat eaters versus plant eaters?
Yeah, right. So then
there's the omnivores.
And then you get into, is it a bird or is it a flying reptile?
All my chickens are dinosaurs.
Right? You never know. All your chickens are dinosaurs?
I heard I do have chickens, and I had heard that theory so long ago, and now when I walk outside and like my 18 chickens come running at me, I can't help but hear like the Jurassic Park theme song in my head. It just is so funny.
All right.
Okay. So dig deeper here. I don't understand. Okay, because I have chickens too, and I'm like, oh, clearly these are dinosaurs.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, when people started putting the dinosaur bones together in the 1800s, most people had chicken. How did they not put that together?
You know why? No, I can tell you this. I can tell you this from being a science teacher. You know why? Dinosaurs had 2 types of hips. Some had bird hips and some had lizard hips. So that really confused them.
So this is where the evolution thing probably comes into play.
Yeah, okay. It really confused them, because how could they have different hips and be the same thing, right? So
wow.
All right, back
to conversation.
Rex has wings. Amazing. He doesn't
back to 20. We're only up to 9.
All right.
Oh
boy.
I
can derail a conversation.
Time machine or magic wand?
Wait, say that again.
Time machine or magic wand?
Time machine. I got some jobs to take care of.
All right. Flip flops or sneakers?
For adventuring, we're gonna go with sneakers.
Okay. Schwarzenegger or Stallone?
Oh man. Well, see, Conan's gotta go Schwarzenegger. So
yeah,
it's a double up.
My Italian heritage says that I must go with Sylvester Stallone, but honestly, nah. We'll go with the Austrian guy.
All right. What's your favorite book, or a book that you put up there as something you enjoyed reading?
Okay, because I'm just that weird political type of person. It's Starship Troopers, because it's anti-fascist, not because it's pro-fascist. So some people don't quite get it. That's like, but yeah, there's some.
Yeah, no, that's a good book. That's a very good book. All right.
I never read it.
The first appearance of power armor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in
Really?
in sci-fi and in the world, that's the suit. In Starship Troopers, they actually wore super suit. They didn't run around like World War I peasant attacking bugs. Okay, they actually had these awesome spacesuits. They had nukes. And they pew 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 and like. Yeah, so the power armor that you see in every anime, that's the first appearance.
Yeah, you got to read the real book is far beyond the movie the movie
should have been called Bugs and Guns.
Right.
And as the movie Bugs and Guns, it was a very fine movie called Bugs and Guns.
Yeah,
right.
I haven't seen the Starship Troopers movie, so.
Well, that maybe that's something you can back one day. Make a real
on my Kickstarter.
Yeah.
First, I'm gonna need a super suit. All right.
Favorite game snack.
Oh, preferred game snack. Junior Mint.
Really?
That's a shout out to Andrew McKee, actually, who used to bribe me with Junior Mint every time we played D&D. He would
like you're the DM and he was like, I'm not gonna die, right?
First he'd like one and I was like, oh no, you're gonna die. And then he would just hand the whole box just clunk. How about now? Okay.
That's funny.
All right, favorite sport.
Oh, soccer, hands down.
Okay. Favorite. Now this everyone I ask this one, people get really mad at me. They're like, I can't just pick one. Musician or recording artists that you really enjoy.
Ooh, man. Okay. All right. One, Charming Disaster, which is they're good friends of mine. They're from Brooklyn, New York. They are absolutely fantastic.
I don't know them. I have to find and check this
I was
out.
gonna say, what kind of genre is that?
Well, that's the hard part. It's goth funk, folk music with and they are amazing storytellers. They have songs from anywhere about Baba Yaga to Madame Curie. Like they actually did a whole album about Madame Curie, Our Lady of Radium.
Yeah,
and,
I like that.
Every word that they say, you like I have to look up every I'm like, wait, that had a separate meaning. Hang on,
I'm gonna love this. I gotta check this out. Definitely,
definitely. Just every word, every note. They're just fantastic. All
right.
Also, I just want to do a shout out to Nerd E, Nerd D actually, who is a fantastic musician who he did Gen Con.
Okay.
So fantastic. Oh my gosh, just great. Yeah, shout out for Nerds because he's got whole albums of some great nerdy funk rap music. And,
all right. Favorite old D&D setting.
Oh my gosh.
What was your favorite setting to play in back in the day?
Yeah, gone. Well, so we were the Keep on the Borderland.
Okay. All right.
That module, because we never got out of that.
Right.
We must have played that thing for years. And like our dungeon master, my older brother, John, we played that. We were stuck in that module, not stuck, but I mean, we ran that module for years.
Well, no, they talk about that for beginners, that's a great campaign start point.
And that is where the Briark comes from in the current monster manual, where it says like the goblin word for surrender is not Briark, but that was one of the rumors on the rumor mill that you could learn. That was from the before times.
Yes, before times. All right. What was your last impulse buy?
Oh gosh, I bought a hat in Scotland. Yeah. It was one of those Scottishy kind of hats. I was like, I'm in Edinburgh. I gotta get the hat.
Yeah. All right. I like that.
Oh, cool.
What motivates you most?
Wow. Having a good time. I don't know.
That's okay. That's all right. I see that with you on stage. When the audience responds, the show tends to take on a life of its own, goes further. So I can see that as an answer. What mythical creature could you believe is real?
Oh man, cockatrice. Clearly,
what?
Cockatrice.
Oh, okay.
Clearly, that was a chicken eating a snake, and like a rooster eating a snake, and the person was like, "I don't know what I'm looking at." And that
it's
looks
one.
really dangerous.
I like that one.
Also, I have a theory that centaurs were just people riding horses but 3,000 years ago, people in the area that is called Europe were riding chariot, didn't ride horseback. So when they came across a group of people, say from the steppes, who were like kicking their asses on the backs of horses, they couldn't quite fathom it and just assumed it was a person head on a horse.
On a horse.
It sounds plausible. Yeah.
Or maybe it was just them trying to explain it to these people who never saw them. And then they're just like, so what is it? It's a guy horse. It's a guy horse guy horse. Yeah. Well, there's a chariot involved, right? No chariot at all. Guy horse.
But you saw the guy's head, right? Yeah.
It was a guy. Yes, it was a guy.
That's very true. Unicorn, the first drawing of unicorn looks damn well like a rhinoceros.
Right.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it's like, anyway. All right. Last question. This is a big one. If you were to devote the rest of your life to philanthropy, what cause would you choose?
Well, I do a lot of stuff for cats already. So like
that's okay.
But if I had unlimited resources, I would probably be like humans.
Hey, I'd have nothing against if you want to take care of hats and forget about humans. I have
that's how much Doc loves us.
I mean,
meow,
those people.
Meow.
It's your answer. It's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
What would you pick?
Well, I would start with cats, and then we'll see if I've got enough that I can actually help people.
Work from there. Yeah.
All right, I like it.
It seems like ending world hunger seems like a kind of a big thing. Which I'm all about that. So I'm having lived in Europe and understanding like the socialized medicine is not a bad thing.
and that the world is bigger than America. Yes.
Yeah.
We talk about that quite often here. We were talking to our friend in Brazil, and our other host didn't realize that he was an hour ahead of us. Because how could there be a time zone before East Coast Standard Time?
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah. The geography just wasn't making sense to him. And I was just like, well, it's okay. It happened. It's all right. So that's the 20 questions. You did great. Yeah. You did great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. I have a question for you. So I like to play this game. Maybe I played this game at the show you were at. I don't know. I don't do it all the time. Well, and maybe we'll tell you what, we'll do 3 questions each. What do you think is the weirdest thing that I've ever juggled? We can do it like 20 questions sort of thing.
All right. The weirdest thing you've ever juggled. I'm going to go with an operating.
That's PG. It's PG, right?
I'm going to go with an operating chainsaw.
Not the weirdest thing I've ever juggled. I have juggled a chainsaw, but not the weirdest thing.
Chickens.
I have attempted to juggle chicken, but they did not agree. I did juggle 3 frozen turkeys.
Okay, but that's still not the weirdest thing.
That's not the weirdest thing.
All right, we got another guess. Juggle and you said PG still, right?
Oh yeah,
I know, right? That's where my brain goes.
I have juggled those, but not the weirdest thing. Still not the weirdest thing.
We have talked about them too. So
prosthetic limb.
I've surprisingly juggled a prosthetic breast.
Really?
That someone offered at a show. I said
they had more than one, because you can't just juggle one, can you?
She only offered one, so
you had to incorporate it with other objects. I guess. So it was being juggled,
but not the weirdest thing.
God, I can't even think. I just feel like I'm gonna just say something stupid and not a weird thing. Something stupid and not weird. So I'm trying to think weird.
It had been alive.
Did you ever taxidermied animals?
I was thinking.
Super close.
Oh, Jesus. Super close.
Mummified animals?
Sort of. Define animal.
Define animal.
Oh, my God.
Mummified rat.
No, not getting farther away now.
Oh, darn.
So, sort of taxidermied, sort of and it was a mammal.
Okay. A cat?
A chihuahua.
All right.
A dog.
You're getting real specific.
It was a sapien, and not the whole part of it, not the whole thing, just a part of it.
So like mummified arm, hands?
Are you saying human?
Well, yes.
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 So you juggled human body parts.
Yes, but it was the same part, but 3 of us.
It wasn't an arm. So was it a head? Were they like shrunken heads?
Super close.
Oh, come on.
What's
eyeballs.
Inside of a head.
Brains. You juggle brains?
What?
You
Where do you
juggle
get access to
brains.
these?
Where do I get access to brains? A Jester has his secrets here. But actually,
in the secret room.
Yes,
off
the
of
secret
the
room in
hotel
Lancaster Castle. So I was at the bodies exhibit, which if you're familiar with that,
I have been to that.
Yeah. So it's real human bodies. They've been sort of taxidermied.
Yeah.
By the way, do not go in there and then just start juggling. They really frown on that. But I was leaving, and it was kind of late at night, so there's not too many other people there. There was a woman standing at a table, and there were 2 brains on the table. And I walked by, and I was like, hey, you don't have another brain, do you? And she goes, oh, what are you gonna do? Juggle it? I absolutely will juggle it. And she went, oh, really? Oh, well, look, I have another brain. The brain on the table, juggle, and then eat one.
What?
No, I didn't eat one.
Okay.
No, that's the onion gag. That's the onion gag.
Oh
Wrong
my
gag. Wrong
God.
gag.
They were stringy.
That is so amazing. Well, first of all, if there was a brain room at the castle, that is the room I would probably want to stay in.
You know what there is, though? There is a miniatures room, because Wargame was a real thing. And they have a gigantic collection of Napoleonic miniatures, like cast the little lead guys, artillery.
That's why the hat's still there.
Infantry.
Yeah.
That's
why the hat's still there.
Amazing.
Yeah,
the collection is honestly
cool.
It's a stunning collection.
Really cool.
Golly, like I just want to keep talking about this castle, but we gotta let you go after a while. So
You're just gonna have to go.
I am. It's on the docket now. Just got to figure out how to expense it. So
write it off on your taxes, because it's a write-off.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's for work. It's for work.
Exactly. I mean, I will record it. We'll put it all over Dungeon Studio stuff. Why not?
Exactly.
And then Paolo will be there.
Bam.
Anyway, gosh, I hate to let you go but we're gonna have to, because show's ending. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Paulo. Thank you so much.
Fantastic,
for joining us.
Doc. Thanks for finding this guy. And bringing him to us, because this was an amazing interview. I think people are going to really enjoy this. Where can people find you? Do you want to give a shout out to your websites or anything?
Give them all out again.
So it is garbanzojuggling.com is my business website. That's Garbanzo, like the bean. It's Garbanzo, juggling.com. Also, I've got a Facebook, Paolo Garbanzo. And let's see what else. Well, we got Nat 21 Adventures. That's our Twitch channel, and there's a website as well. You can get our D21s there.
I'm gonna get one.
Let's see. Well, what else? And Ren Adventures. So Ren Adventures is the D&D destination website. So it's Ren Adventures. Everything's an adventure.
Amazing.
Again, thank you again, Paulo. Anytime you want to come back, talk D&D with us, we'll be glad to have you back on too. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Love to join you.
Yeah, thank you. Doc, do you want to take us out with your great one-liner that you had the other day?
Yeah. You know what? And Paulo, you'll like this one. This is a new one I've come up with. You can't believe everything you think until you think about everything in which you believe. Hey, everybody, peace out. Have a good night.
Yep. Thank you very much. And cut.